Diddy's bond has officially been denied and he will stay in jail awaiting sentencing. It looks like Cassie's letter urging the court not to release Diddy, it looks like that works. It looks like the defense that Diddy used in court to essentially have him acquitted on 3 of the 5 charges, that same defense have came back to bite him when he's trying to be free or released on bond pending the sentencing. Diddy's entire defense from the very beginning was actually very strategic and effective. His defense attorneys walked into court and said, listen, Diddy is a bad boyfriend. He's a bad partner. He beat up these women. Yes, if this was a domestic violence case, Diddy would be guilty as charged, but it's not. Them doing so was able to effectively distinguish the difference between domestic violence, bad partner, and an interstate trafficker of women. And the jury ultimately decided Diddy is a bad person, Diddy is violent, Diddy beat up these women, but he didn't traffic them. Well, when the judge is looking at the defense conceding in court that Diddy beat up these women and he was a violent person, well, the judge is saying, even if the defendant was solely required to show that he is not a danger to the community, he could not meet that burden because prior to trial, the court denied bail because, he was a danger to the witnesses. And, he sees no reasons to reverse it now, especially, as he says right here, because the defense conceded in court that Diddy was violent. And he would also bring up the instances regarding Cassie at the hotel, but not just Cassie at the hotel. He brought up the instances regarding Jane Doe even after Diddy recognized that he was under federal investigation. The judge states his violence is depicted in the video of Cassie Ventura. The defense admitted this is a terrible moment. Domestic violence is the issue, is what she said. It wasn't only that. There was the London hotel incident. Yes, in London as well. Now, the judge would also say, now this is where you kind of got to look at Diddy like, bro, you tripping, okay? There was violence after the searches in this case. After Diddy's house was raided, apparently Diddy and Jane were still going back and forth and still seeing each other as he realized he's under federal investigation because his homes got raided. As to Jane, there was June 2024 after the searches of Combs' residence. This evidence a disregard for the law and a propensity for violence. The judge is saying, hold on, bro. If this man knew he was under federal investigation and he still whooped on Jane Doe, which is Daffy and Joy 50 Cent's baby mama, if he was whooping on her while being investigated, what would stop him from seeking them out and whooping on them again while out on bond? I can't really argue with that particular logic. My only point is he has to be free at some point. Like, y'all just can't keep using those particular instances from the past to keep this man locked up. Like, what would be the difference between now and let's say in a month when y'all come back and y'all sentence him? So let's just say y'all sentence him to time off. What would be the difference between now and a month later when y'all let him go for time served and probation? There wouldn't be no difference. So why keep extending the inevitable here? This man, this is his first conviction ever. This man should be let out. It's the Man's Act. He was acquitted of all the serious things. Now, we got a little bit of a peek into exactly what Diddy is looking at here. So while denying the bond, they also spoke on certain things. Like, when will sentencing be? The judge is recommending October. The defense is claiming, hell no, we're not waiting until October for this. Cut it out, Your Honor. And they would also look at the recommendations for Diddy. Now, when you look at the recommendations, it ain't looking good. The judge wants the next sentencing to be October 3rd at 10 a.m. They obviously is going to put in a request to expedite it, which they acknowledged. Now, the guidelines, the defense team is arguing that the guidelines for these charges starts at 21 months. The U.S. says it's 51 months. Diddy has done 10 months. So if let's say it's 21 months, he still has 11 months to account for, possibly probation. But if it's 51 months, possibly still probation, or maybe he got to go ahead and do that. 85% he comes home. Now, this is where it becomes hopeful, all right? Because the U.S. attorney would even acknowledge that if talks of probation moves forward, then that might expedite whatever they got going on, right? They might give up the argument for having to do, let's say, 51 months in jail to say, hey, listen, man, they might concede the 51 months if he could do the 51 months on probation. So that may move forward the talks to July 8th, to where when they come back on July 8th, they will already have an agreement in place, and the sentencing can happen soon after July 8th. But if the agreement for probation don't happen, then they might have to extend it from July 8th closer to that October deadline for the sentencing. Diddy attorneys attempted to make a last-minute plea for him to get released. They claimed that when Diddy hit Jane back, that it was self-defense and that Jane hit Diddy first. They claim that Diddy has been a model prisoner with no infractions at MDC. They claim that Diddy's family is here, the kids is here. He just wants to start his new life right now. He's not going to do anything. Now, they also try to make like an emotional plea, referencing like the messages that Diddy was sending to Mia and his family, and they show, yo, this man is willing to change. He's not gonna mess up his second chance. The judge is still not buying it because the U.S. attorney also said, come on, bro. Like, this whole little like self-defense plea right now is laughable, is insulting. Diddy was found with drugs. Like, while he was being arrested, he was found with drugs and allegedly about to engage in another freak off. This man has no respect for the law. Cut it out, bro. So, the judge said, yeah, like, he agreed with the U.S. attorney. They set the next day for July 8th, and they adjourned court. They're now hoping that a joint proposal for expedited sentencing will make this move forward faster. Now, we will see the joint proposal if both sides kind of get on terms for essentially like where they want Diddy at. If they're claiming 51 months and the U.S. Attorney Office says they're open to probation and probation might make the joint proposal move faster, then we could see Diddy possibly getting out as soon as July 8th, to be honest with y'all. Is that likely? Possibly not. All right, possibly not. Now, do I feel like this judge will let Diddy out? I think the judge has been fair so far. Now, if he's not going to let Diddy out, though, right now with a bond package, then what exactly is going to change from now to the sentencing? If he feels like Diddy is a danger to society, even though he only got convicted of transporting prostitutions, if he feels like Diddy is a danger to society, he's such a danger that if he gets out right now, he's a risk to the victims, then why would he not take Cassie's statement into consideration again when she says, give this man 20 years? Why wouldn't he take that into consideration? Maybe not 20, but maybe 6 or 7. So I don't know. Just him denying Diddy's bond package, to me, is where things get a little sketchy, right? Now, Epstein's lawyer, we know Alan Dershowitz, he commentated on this Diddy case, and he would claim, man, that this Diddy case has been a stain and an embarrassment to the federal government, and that this case should have never been tried. He actually believes that this Diddy conviction would actually get overturned through appeal.
So how would you have charged this if you were the feds? And we are starting to notice a little bit of a trend here with Maureen Comey and the way that the Southern District of New York are bringing these cases. It seems to be a constant trend of skating or of lighter sentences, and people get very frustrated about this, and it's leading to a little bit of an erosion within at least our audience, Alan, when it comes to how the law is adjudicated. It seems like if you're rich and powerful, if you're famous, or if you serve the Democrat Party, that you get to skate, and if you're somebody else, then you go down in flames.
Well, there's no doubt that wealth has a big contributing factor in getting acquittals. I do half of my cases pro bono because I try very hard to create equality, and I've been very successful in my appellate practice getting convictions reversed. Part of the reason I've been successful is that the government overcharges. This should have been a state case. He should have been charged with beating up his girlfriend, as we all saw in the videotape, with the cases in which there was, if there were any, non-consensual sex. But to try to broaden this into a kind of national, international criminal enterprise and conspiracy was undercut by the videotapes and the emails by the women saying, please, please, I want to be involved in this freak out. I want to, please include me. I'll help set it up.
Alan isn't Epstein's attorney, I don't think. I may have misspoken there, but he is definitely an associate. He's definitely somebody who has defended Epstein, probably said something similar about Epstein. So I don't know how far this man's opinion on Epstein, on like Diddy goes. when you take into consideration he's an Epstein defender. However, I think he's correct in his manner. This was not something that the feds will get involved in 9 times out of 10. Anybody else, the feds ain't touching this, bro. This case was like a non starter. But the reason why the feds touched it, and this is something that a lot of y'all probably don't want to hear, the feds be clout chasing too. The police be clout chasing too, bruh. We all seen like the Florida police chief in Florida, like that dude in Florida, who like when he arrests drug dealers or have a big drug bust, he brings their jewelry and he wears their jewelry and he wears their chain and he takes photo ops. The police want clout and attention just as much as anybody. So with this Diddy case, they seen Diddy, Puff Daddy, oh my God, bigger than life. They thought, man, this will definitely increase my profile if I'm able to get Diddy in a RICO and convict him. So they went for it. They overreached. They did things that didn't make no sense. Y'all had the emails, y'all had the tapes, y'all seen the level of consent this man received when it came to Cassie, Jane Doe, and others. But y'all took one videotape and y'all attempted to prove coercion, fraud, trafficking, force based off of one tape of that man in that hotel doing something that nobody could ever co-sign. That was nasty work, and nobody would ever dare tell me that Diddy is a good person. What he did to Cassie is undeniable and is nasty work. But to take that one footage of an instance of a blimp in their relationship and to try to convince a jury of his peers that this man is a trafficker, this man did these things forcefully, this man is like the worst human being, he's a crime boss, he's a mafia leader, he's the leader of a criminal enterprise, from one video was overstepping and overreaching, and it didn't make sense to anybody watching.
Just give me a part, give me a role. And I think we've seen that in the Harvey Weinstein case. We've seen that in this case. Some juries will agree, some juries will disagree. That's the nature of our jury system. It's everybody off the street deciding what they think is right and what they think is wrong. He was acquitted on the RICO charge, and one of the jurors said he didn't understand it. I've been teaching criminal law for 62 years. I didn't understand the charge on the RICO case. It's very complicated. And so, this is a split verdict, and nobody is going to be happy with a split verdict. But I think the end result is that Combs will probably go free now with an ankle bracelet and $1 million bail, and may well get his entire conviction reversed on appeal, though that's not absolutely certain.
Alan, we know a number of federal prosecutors, they're regulars on this program, and they are humiliated right now as we're texting them. This is an embarrassment for the federal government, is it not?
It is. And I think there are many embarrassments for the federal government. What they've done is because they win so many of their cases, because of what I call the trial penalty. You know what happens when a person is indicted, an ordinary person. The government comes and says, look, if you plead guilty, you'll get 6 months in prison. But if you plead not guilty, you'll get 16 years. And so they plead guilty. And if they don't, they get this enormously higher penalty. That's why the Southern District of New York and the Eastern District have 92, 94% conviction rates, because most people plead guilty because they're terrified of the trial penalty. We have to change that. We have to create a system where if you go to trial and lose, you get the same penalty as if you pleaded guilty, or maybe a little bit more, but not a multiple of fivefold or tenfold. So I think the government is getting its comeuppance a little bit, because juries are feeling a little bit more like they have the power under the Constitution, and they do, to decide whether the government is overreached. Government overreaching is the greatest danger that any liberal democracy faces.
There's actually some theories that compares this Diddy case to Epstein, and the real reason the government is interested. But we would explore those theories in another video. Now, do I think even Diddy would want to be compared to Epstein? No. Epstein to me was a creep, nasty, 100% guilty. If Epstein and Diddy is even in the same breath, then throw away the keys on Diddy too, bro. But I don't think Diddy and Epstein are even close, okay? Not even close. Now, when Alan says, yo, I've been teaching law for like 60 years, and even I didn't understand the possible link between Diddy and this racketeering case. What do you think? Like, Diddy's peers thought. Yo, what do you think the average 63-year-old man who's been a 9-to-5 blue-collar worker his entire life is sitting in court hearing, yeah, wait, hold on. Like, these women consented, they want to do it. They were begging him to do it so he could pay their bills. You think that man understood the correlation between that and a racketeering case, bro? He thought, huh? Bro, sounds like everyday tricking to me. So here is Allen's argument, though, for why he believes, like, the convictions for even the two things that are not as serious as the other charges, he believes that the Mann Act convictions would ultimately be overturned through appeal. And here's why.
We appreciate your time. We know that you must be incredibly busy today. Your take on this Diddy verdict. This is quite a shocker to most who are observing this right now.
Well, what Diddy did clearly was immoral, and maybe some of the things he did were illegal under state law. But as usual, the federal government overcharged him. They charged him with being a racketeer under the RICO statute that was designed for the mafia. They charged him with trafficking people involuntarily, when the evidence suggests that most of these women voluntarily transactional sex. They wanted something in exchange for the sex. So they got him on essentially the Mann Act, which prohibits people from crossing state lines for immoral purposes. And I suspect that that conviction may very well be reversed on appeal. And I think the trial judge thinks so too, because he's apparently going to release him on bail, which is not usually done if the judge thinks that the conviction will be affirmed on appeal. So I suspect in the end, this is a good day for Sean Combs and his lawyers, and not a particularly good day for prosecutors. I also think it's a good day for the law if it really strikes a difference and says, look, if you have non-consent to do sex, you've been victims of a crime. But if you're engaging in sex voluntarily in order to get an advantage in the rap business, well, maybe that's not criminal. Maybe that's just something you have to discuss with your priest and your rabbi and your mother.
Well, Diddy didn't get out on bond, so maybe the appeal thing is hogwash, or maybe he could appeal this and have the conviction overturned. If I'm him, I'm not even trying this. I'm not even attempting it, bro. I'm good. I was facing a life sentence. If I got to sit down for 2 years max, I'll take it, bro. A year, I'll take it, bro. 6 months, I'll take it, bro. I'm not even risking it. It's not worth it. Even if, let's say, bro, the judge give me the 51 months that the prosecutors are recommended, cool. Okay. What? Like, I come home on the halfway house, like halfway through, so like that's 6 months. Then I get the 85%. I'll probably be home in like 2 or 3 years. Bro, I'll take it. Cool, bro. I'll sit down. I'm not even risking it, man. But maybe that's just me, because I also called Diddy crazy for wanting to go to court this fast, but apparently, the right for speedy trial worked out well for him. I just don't know, man. But y'all let me know in the comment section. What do you guys think, man? Is 21 months fair? Is 51 months fair? Is him getting his bond denied fair? Let me know. And if you're still watching, click on this video right here on my screen, man, where I broke down Cassie's role in making sure Diddy bond is being denied, as well as Cassie revealing she's not done going after Diddy yet. And that became perfectly clear when her attorney was requesting Diddy get the max, and that they would actually make a victim statement at sentencing. Let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, okay? Click on this video right here to learn more. I'm gonna see you guys in this video on my screen, all right? Just let me know that you're coming from this video, and I'll reply to your comment. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.